Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today, Masechtas Taanit Daf Tes. We are going to begin on the bottom of Chesem and Beis by the two dots. The Gemara tells us as follows: Kibbutz Gayasois Tzedakah Masi Parnes Simon. That is the mnemonic to remember the following Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan, Gadol Yom HaGeshamim, great is rain, Kiyom Kibbutz Goyos. It's great as the ingathering of the exiles. Shnemer Shuva Hashem Eshivasenu Kafikim Banegev. As we say this famous pasuk also in Shir Malos, that Hashem will return Kafikim Banegev, just like the Afikim, which is the rain in the dry land. Then Afikin Elomater Shnemer the Yero Afikeyom, that they saw the channels of the sea. V'Omer Rabbi Yochanan Gadol Yom HaGeshamim Shafil Gayasos Poiskas Boy, that the army stop when it rains. Shnemer Tilomeha Ravi Nachis Gedudeha, that with the saturated furrows, the troops rest. V'Yom Rabbi Yochanan Ena Geshamim Netzarim El B'Shvil Poiskes Tzedakah Barabim. The rain stops because of people who are claim to give money Barabim. Says Rashi L'Shem V'Laponim. A person who does not give. Such an individual doesn't give, that's why rain is withheld. Shnemar, as it says in the pasuk, Nisim v'ruach geshem v'geshem oyin, that the clouds and the wind and the rain it's not. Ish mishalel b'matat shaker, regarding the person who glorifies himself by saying falsehood, by claiming he's going to give and he doesn't give. Rabbi Yochanan, what does the following pasuk say, which is a famous Gemara on the top of Daf Tes Amud Aleph? Aser Taser. Why does it have this double language? So Aser b'shil shesasher. If you give charity, you become rich, which seems to be counterintuitive. You would think if you're giving away your money, then you're going to end up having less money. But the truth is that, and this is not just a Gemara, this is many financial theorists say that if you give money away, you realize it's hard to give money away. So therefore, you value that money that you're giving away, and that will cause you psychologically to also keep value in that which you're keeping. Ashche Rav Yochanan Nukad Reish Lakish. Rav Yochanan encountered Reish Lakish's young child. Armalei Emily Psukach. Tell me your pasuk. Armalei Aser Taser. Armalei my Aser Taser. So you ask, what does that mean? So Amalei Aser B'Shil Sh'Tasher. It means give money away, then you become rich. Amalei Menolach. How do you know this is true? So Amalei. So the kid said Zil Nasi. So he said, go and you can test it. So Amalei Mi Shari L'Nsuye L'Kodesh Baruch Hu. Is it true that you could test Hashem? V'Ksiv Lo Yitanasos Hashem. You're not to test Hashem. So Amalei Hachi Yomer Rabbi Yishia Chutz Mizu. This is the exception. You actually are allowed to test Hashem with regard to giving tzedakah in order that you can become rich, even though it's, of course, shlo shma. Israel is allowed to do such a thing. Shnemar Taviu es kol maser es beis oitzer. When he gives the charity, vayhi terev bevesi v'chanuni no b'zois. Omar Hashem Savakos. It says you can do a mechina. You can actually test Hashem with this to see if you'll become rich. Eftach lachem es aruvos hashemayim. It doesn't open up the storehouses, the skylights of the sky. The famous song that Hashem will shower upon His blessing until there is not enough. So Mayad Blidai. So that we're going to have so much that we're just going to keep saying enough, that our lips are going to be weary from saying enough. That's how much blessing we'll have. The kid said that if I would have chanced upon this pasuk myself, I would not need you. So, and therefore, basically, he's saying, you, Rav Yochanan, I don't really need you. This is Reish Lakish's child, and perhaps there's a reason why he said that, as we'll see in a second. Again, he encountered this child. He was sitting and he said the following pasuk: Yivelos Adam Tisalif Darko. The sinner is a person who goes opposite the road. Yal Hashem Yizaf Libo. And toward Hashem, he causes anger. So Yosef Rabbi Yochanan become a tama. He was confused and perplexed by this pasuk. Amar mi mika midin ichsiv b'chsuve. Is there anything that's found in the ksuvim and Sefer Ksuvim, Doloi Remizi Baraisa, it's not hinted in the Torah. There's always something in the Torah that is also like hinted to a futuristic psukim in Ksuvim. Ramalei said, "Atu what? Ha milo remize? You tell me there's no hint? Of course there is. That they were afraid. What did Hashem do? This is referring to the brothers of Yosef. Upon finding the money in their bags, they said, "Why did Hashem do this to us?" When the truth is, it was their own doing. So instead of accepting responsibility, you blame others. And that's the same way of an Ivelis Adam Tetzalef Darko, and they end up, because they sin, the Al Hashem Yizaf Libo, they cast anger in their heart toward God, even though it's not it's their doing. So Rabbi Yochanan was so impressed, Dal Eine, he lifted up his eyes, and Rashi explains that Rabbi Yochanan Shahaya Afafav Mechasin Es Einav, he had very thick eyelids, which covered up his eyes, Magbiin Mizlige de Kaspa, and he would actually use like these silver forks to be able to lift up, to be able to see. So he wanted to be able to v'chazal bay, to be able to see this kid, which could be a very dangerous thing. Asi ime, so the mother came, afikde, and grabbed him away. Amrule tamikame, we're going to go away from you. To 11 lach that you shouldn't do, kedabed lavuch, that which you did to your father, which obviously referring to her husband. Says Rashi, Shoyitin eina b'cha kamoshenasin b'avicha, that Rabbi Yochanan cast his eyes upon him. The Hemisai, as the famous Gemara in Bava Metzia says, that he caused his downfall. The Yom Rabbi Yochanan matar b'shvil yachid parnasa b'shvil rabim. When it comes to rain, even an individual, says Rashi, she'im ein sarach matar el adam echad. If only one person needs rain, then that's enough for the rain. However, parnasa only comes b'shvil rabim, for the sake of the multitudes. So matar b'shvil yachid echsev yiftach Hashem l'chas aitzur hatayiv. L'aseh matar artzacha. So it's specifically individualized. It's a lashon yachid. Parnasa b'shvil rabim. However, parnasa is for the multitudes. Echsev hineni mamtu lachem lechem. So Meis Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda Oimer, he says shlosha parnasim toivim amdu Yisrael. There are three great leaders: Elhain, Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, who are of course all siblings. The Gimel matanos tavos nitnu al yadav. They also had three gifts: Elhain, be'er, anan, uman. In the wilderness, we were blessed with the well for water, a cloud to protect us, and the manna to eat. So be'er b'schus Miriam, Amud Anan b'schus Aaron, and of course Aman is b'schus Moshe. Now Miriam died first. She was the oldest. Also, it makes sense. She died first anyway. And what happened? The Stali Kaber, the rain, the well dried up. Shnemer the Tamash Sham Miriam. So there was no water, because the water was in her schus. It's interesting. Miriam is almost like the word Mayim. The chazu b'schus shnehem. So the rain, the well came in the schus of Moshe and Aaron. Meis Aaron is stalka nani kavod. The nani kavod left. Shenemar v'yishma haganani melech Arad. Mashmo shema shama shemeis Aaron, as we saw in the very beginning of Rosh Hashanah, discussing exactly how do we start counting the month of Nisan, or is it the month of Tishrei, depending what type of a melech it is. It's Rosh Hashanah for Malachim. So we use this pasuk to show the chronological order. So what exactly was mentioned? Shama Shemeis Aaron. They heard that he died. Nistalka nani kavod, and it was gone on the clouds of glory. Ksaver nitnu rishus l'hilachim b'Yisrael. They thought, okay, now's a great time to fight Klal Yisrael. V'hainu nechsev v'yiru kol eda ki gava Aaron. Amar Abba al tikri v'yiru ela v'yira'u. Kedarish Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish ki is mishamish ba'arba shaynais. Ki has four potential meanings. It can mean if, Dilma, maybe, Ella, but, or Dehor, because. Chazar shneim b'schus Moshe. And then all three of them were in the schus of Moshe. Meis Moshe and Istakakul, and they were all gone. Shnemer b'achid es shleishas haroyim b'yerach echad. That these three shepherds, referring to Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, they all was gone in 1 month. It's not true. They didn't all die in the same month. V'olei Miriam Esa b'Nisan. Miriam died in the month of Nisan. Aaron b'Av. Aaron died on the first of Av. Moshe b'Adar. And Moshe died on the seventh day of Adar. El Mulamed Shinizbatlu Gimel Matanos Tova Shnitnu Al Yadan Nistalku Kun B'Yerech Echad. When Moshe died, all three were gone. Alma, what do we see? Ashachan Parnasa B'Shvil Yachid. Even a Parnasa could happen for an individual. Noshani Moshe Kibandu Rabim Hu Boy Kirabim Dami. It wasn't for him, it was for the sake of the Rabim, and therefore it was B'Shvil Rabim. Question 12. V'yachid es shleishes haroyim b'yachad. Actually, question 11. Heichen marumas b'tayra hapasik b'mishli yivelos adam tislav darcha v'el Hashem yisaf libo. So he said that was referring to the brothers of Yosef, blaming Hashem for their problems. V'yachid es shleishes haroyim mihim shleishes haroyim. Who are these three shepherds? Again, it was Moshe, Miriam, and Aaron. Lezi yerech mechavin kra. And this pasuk is referring to the time when Moshe died. Okay. Fine. Weiter. Kerabim Dami. Rav Huna bar Manoach, Rav Shmuel bar Idi, Rav Chia Mivas Tanya Havishchichi Kamei de Rabba. All these three great rabbis were in front of Rabba. Kinach Nash the Rabba, when he died, also committed Rav Papa. They went to Rav Papa. Kol Amos Tahavi Armel Hushmaita. Anytime they said over a sugya, V'Havi Mistabra Havi Marazmi Hadadi. They would hint to one another exactly what was going on. Like they were like, "What's happening? We don't understand this," and no one's explaining this to us very clearly, like Rava was able to do it. So Cholosh Daite, Rav Papa began to feel bad because they were giving the impression that he didn't have the same knowledge base as what Rava did. As we continue to test some at base, Akrui Bechelme, in a dream he saw the pasuk V'yachid es shleishes haroyim l'machar, that he'll remove these three shepherds l'machar. Ki havi mifteri minei armuhu lezu rabbanan b'shalma. He should go in peace, which again perhaps alluded to the fact that it's not referring to Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam. It could be that these shepherds are going to die. Rav Shimi Borashi Habi Shchiach Kamid Rav Papa Habi Makshile Tuva. It was very difficult. And Yomi Echad Chazia the Nafale Ape Shame the Amar Rachman Litzul Mikisufa. So he heard him say to his servant, "Please, Hashem, let Hashem save me from this embarrassment." Dishimi Kabul Shdi Kuse. So from then, he was makabel upon himself not to embarrass him and to be silent. The Suloi Akshule, and he never asked him again. V'afresh Lakish Savar Mater B'Shvil Yachid. Going back to our sugya, that rain is also was B'Shvil Yachid. The Amrish Lakish Menayla Mater B'Shvil Yachid. Echsev Shalom Hashem Mater B'Eis Malkush. Hashem Oisa Chazizim. Hashem will bring these clouds. Umater Geshem Yitilhem La'ish Esa Basada. So it doesn't say to many people, but even to the ish, the one person that needs it. Yachol l'koil Talmud le'mer ish, even to one person. Vatanya iu ish yachol l'chol sadaisav. Maybe it means all the fields for that person. Talmud le'mer sada, even one field. I sada yachol l'chol sada. Maybe it's the whole field. Talmud le'mer asev, even some grass, a part of the field. Kihada Rav Daniel bar Katina havi le haginta. He had this garden that kol yoma havi ozol. Vesarle. He used to always go and inspect it. Amr, he said, Ha Mishra boy Maya. This row needs water. But Ha Mishra lo boy Maya. And this row does not need rain. And what happened? V'asa Mitra, the rain came. V'ka Mashki kol heichadi boile Maya. Whatever areas he needed rain, that's where the rain fell. My Hashem says chazizim. What does it mean Hashem made these chazizim, these clouds? So Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Chanina, Malamed Shekol Tzadik V'Tzadik HaKadosh Baruch Hu Oslo Chozis Mipnei Atzma. Hashem provides these special clouds, specially for each tzaddik. My chazizim. So what exactly does that mean? These clouds. So Rabbi Yehuda, Parchos is referring to fleeting clouds. Like Parchim was like clouds that float away. Rabbi Yochanan, similar matar. A sign that rain's going to come is parchos. So my parchos, so my papa, eva kalisha. If you have a thin cloud, Tute Eva Smichta, underneath a thicker cloud. Then you know it's going to rain. Rabbi Yehuda, Nihila Mikmei Mitra, a light rain before the rain, Asimitra. That means that more rain's going to come. Basar Mitra, Pasek Mitra. If let's say after this light rain comes afterwards, that usually means that the rain is stopping and it's over. Mikmei Mitra, Asimitra. What does it mean before the rain? More rain's going to come. The Simanich Mehulta. And a simon to remember this is a sieve, says Rashi. Shemedchila yaitse kemach dak. The flour comes out thin. L'masayv subin gasen, and then thick bran. The baser mitras pasik mitra v'simanech chardi easy. Now, one way of thinking about that there's a little bit of rain that comes at the end, that means it's going to stop. It's just like the rei shel izim, Rashi says, the waste matter that falls out of a goat. First of all, he'll have a large discharge. And then he has small drippings, and then he stops relieving himself. Ula ikul Bavel. So Ula went to Bavel. Chaza parchais. He saw these clouds, these fleeting clouds. Amalu panu mane dahashta asimitra. He said, go and remove the kalim. Because the rain's going to come. Also mitra, but the rain didn't end up coming. So Amar kihechi mishakri bavloi hachi mishakri mitraihu. Just like the Babylonians lie, so too is their rain. So ula ikul bavel chazi maloi tzanda de tamri mezuzi. He saw that you can get a basket filled of dates for the amount of a zuz. Amar maloi tzanda de duvsha bazuza uvayvloy laska baraisa. You're able to get food for such a good deal, for such a small amount of money, so you don't have to engage in so much work in order to be able to survive. So how could it be they don't learn Torah? Belele, so he ended up pounding all those dates. And at night, saruhu, he was in tremendous pain. His stomach was killing him. Omer malait sandat zakini bazuz avloy aska baraisa. He said it the other way around. They fill up their stomachs with these swords, and yet they're still able to learn some Torah. Actually, they are impressive. Tanya, Rebbe Lezer Omer Kol Oyam Kulam Yemei Ukyonos Sushaisa. The entire world gets its rains from the oceans. Rashi says, "Kalemer b'mayim shel mata v'lo b'mayim shel mala." It comes from the bottom and not up. Shneimar v'eid yalam in aretz, and the fog, the mist came up from the ground. V'hishkas kol pnei adama. So it comes from the bottom up. Amar Rabbi Yeshua v'lo mimei ukyonos maluchim hein. The ocean, the Atlantic, is salty. So how is it possible that we get all our rain which has no salt in it? Tarmelo mematkin be'ovim. It gets sweetened in the clouds. In other words, the salt is removed when it evaporates and goes up into the clouds. It actually comes from the upper waters above. It comes from the sky above. It sounds like the rains come from the ground. Means that the clouds get powerful. The oil murakin, they ascend to the sky. And it opens up its mouth like a flask, and it's makabel the rainwater. Shnemer yosku mater le'edoi, that we pour rain into the thickness of this mist. Menukavois hein kivara, and the holes in them are likened to a sieve. Uvois uvechashros moyim al gabi karkash nemar chashros mayim avishchokim, that the sieve of water is the clouds of the heavens. Ve'ein bein tipa tipa el kamali nima, and the difference between one drip is like the size of a hair thread. It's so thin. The day it rains is as powerful and great as the creation of the heavens and the earth. All right, so we see the connection between the two. Not know so there's no end to his greatness and his knowledge. It's the greatness of Hashem. Now, Mashkim Yosef Karilahu. How do we find avak va'afar from the heavens? El kivan demidale l'hasam in shemayim karle hachinami kivan demisalki l'hasam mel yosef karle. So it comes there from that place. It's called Mel Yosef. Kamanaz hadiyam Rav Chanina kanes kaned me hayam, like the mounds that gathered up into the sea. Noisin baratzais to hoimais, so the lands will go into the depths. Migam loitzaros shis malubar. What causes the storehouses to be filled with produce? The homos, the depths, and that is like the opinion Rabbi Eliezer that says the entire world actually comes from the waters from below, which is the depths below. Rabbi Yeshua hahu biriyasai shel oilam. What does that mean? So as we look on the top of Yudam and Aleph, Ksiv, it's written, Shahayakol Olam Shotuf B'mayim, the whole world was filled with water. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kainsim B'makam Echad, he gathered it all into one place. Machnas Mayim B'noid, Shanasim B'aratzais, that he put it all in one place, so that this way, on the third day, land could be graded. Dechsiv, Nois and Aratzos Tahomos, Shom Choyel Gavur V'oitzer Liyam. So it's not talking about that's where the rain came from, but it means that during the Briasa Shel Oilam, that's how the water was separated. Okay, we're going to stop there. Let's see a couple other questions. Okay, we saw question 11 and 12. Let's see. Question 20. This is a 2021 question. Question 2. Ha'im matar parnasa boim b'shvil yachid o rak b'shvil tzibor. So matar comes a feel b'shvil yachid, parnasa b'shvil rabim, which is on Testament Aleph and TA 27. V'achid es shleishas haroim b'yerech echad mihim haroim uma habir b'yerech echad, which I think is identical to the question which we had on question 12. So question 12 is the same as TA 27. So I'm going to mark that down, which again is referring to Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam. But when Miriam died and Aaron died, it was the schus of Moshe, all these three things. And therefore, when Moshe died, it's like all these three things ended at the same time. Adkan.